Hey, good morning. Good morning. How's everybody doing? Good morning, COMICSGATE. Great to see you guys. Great to do a quick live stream. I want to do regular live streams. I'm going to get on my regular live stream kick. I see here Brian's got a good suggestion. Already messaged you back on that one, Brian. I would love to buy DC Comics and just kind of have it. It would be neat. But, it's a little bit expensive. I think that with DC Comics, they're going to get a lot of money for the whole company, and it's going to be more than $100 billion. That's how these things go. But if we save our money now, we might be buying DC Comics in the future. In the meantime, you can support the Mermaids. You can support COMICSGATE. VileNed, good to see you as always. Hey all to VileNed. Everybody loves VileNed. Why the hell wouldn't we? You guys probably know I've launched the Mermaids on Indiegogo. The link is in the description. You can definitely check that out. I appreciate the support. As always, it's moving along. And definitely subscribe to the channel. Click the bell for notifications if you haven't done that already. I appreciate it. It's great, great, great to have you guys. This is an interesting article, okay? I want to get into this article. AT&T predicted to sell off Warnermedia and DC Comics. Now, this is something that we've kind of covered this before. There was this big investor that came in after AT&T had bought Warnermedia and bought DirecTV and spent like $170 billion just buying up entertainment assets. And their stock tanked because basically they just bought these things. They didn't kind of really think through like, well, how are we going to go and take these assets and turn them into something? You just figured like, all right, well, what the heck? We'll just buy these things. It was just like incredibly irresponsible. But yes, AT&T is now predicted to sell off Warnermedia and DC Comics. This is coming from Comic Book News, one of my favorite websites for comics news. And I want to get into it with you guys. And it's actually covering an article in CNBC pretty well, and gives you kind of a good summary of what the heck is probably going on. It's predicted that AT&T may sell off Warnermedia at some point, which could include DC Comics that is owned by the company. It absolutely, of course, when Warnermedia is sold, they're going to include DC Comics. They're going to include almost everything in Warnermedia, maybe not Crunchyroll, but just about everything that matters. They can't make movies without the DC Comics. They're not going to lose DC Comics licensing and DC Comics potential movies franchises. AT&T is the parent owner of Warnermedia, with Warnermedia including properties such as Warner Brothers Pictures, HBO, DC Entertainment, and DC Comics. Following all the big news that Warner Brothers Pictures movies will be released on HBO Max. Isn't that insane? Yeah. Warnermedia is going to spend entire 2021, 17 films. All of their major projects are going to be released on HBO Max at the same time as being released to theaters in the US. And theater owners don't like it. Stockholders don't know what to think. And they need this to build HBO Max up, to get more subscribers for HBO Max. And it's pretty extreme to do something like that, but you have to think about it this way. Even if it costs $200 million to make each of these movies, and they basically don't make any of the money they should make from theaters as a result of doing it, it's only $3.4 billion if they lose all of the money, right? $3 billion here, $2 billion there. What's the big deal? They spent $105 billion buying Warnermedia in the first place. And what's another couple of $1 billion in lost potential if they're able to build up their streaming service? That's their focus. Everything's going to streaming now. It's insane. Okay, so the article that this is based off of is from CNBC. Inside AT&T's Warnermedia as it dismantles the old-time Warner to battle Netflix. And that is what's going on. They have this controlled demolition. There have been so many mass layoffs at DC Comics, so many layoffs throughout Warner Brothers. They have just, it's been It's really been bad. Interestingly, Disney has had, as many or more layoffs, but somehow Disney gets incredibly great PR all the time, no matter what, especially on CNBC. So people don't really focus on all of Disney's layoffs, but Disney's layoffs are as or more aggressive than Warnermedia's layoffs. All the media companies are doing this now because of streaming. And the pandemic is related to it. It gives them kind of an excuse, really. But the main thing is they're just getting rid of everyone because they don't distribute content the same way anymore. It's not the same world that it used to be in. The article basically pits those for and those against what AT&T and Warnermedia are doing with its HBO Max streaming service. And it should be noted, the article includes sources from within Warner Brothers who do not like what's happening and some that are former employees. There are so many former employees of Warner Brothers. It's claimed that AT&T will eventually sell off Warnermedia. So regarding the potential sale of Warnermedia, the article states present and past employees are optimistic that AT&T and Warnermedia can get things right with HBO Max, which I say they should rename to HBO Plus because it worked for Disney. Discovery is doing something called Discovery Plus right now as a streaming service. What the hell does HBO Max even mean? Max what? What do you mean Max? Sounds like the name of a dog. But at the same time, it's also noted that many of those same people think that AT&T will eventually divest itself of Warnermedia in order to bump up its stock, which is currently at a 10-year low. And the entire value of all the stock of AT&T right now is a little bit more than $200 billion. And Netflix is worth about $200 billion. Disney is worth a little under $300 billion. But the thing of it is AT&T bought Warnermedia and DirecTV for $170 billion approximately combined. So why is the company only worth $200 billion? Because none of these the acquisitions aren't working out. DirecTV, they've had a loss now of about $50 billion on the $65 billion purchase. That's a lot. That means it didn't go very well. All the technology, like it has drastically changed the value of media assets tremendously. So what good is it if you buy a movie studio like Disney did for whatever, $80 billion when they bought Fox, and then next year it's a whole new world. You don't even have normal theatrical distribution. So as the article said, still many of those people predict AT&T will eventually sell off Warnermedia either in pieces or together because legacy media assets will continue to weigh on AT&T's stock rather than help kill it. Several said AT&T's board will ultimately balk at giving Killar the money, which is the new CEO, Jason Killar of Warnermedia. He needs to compete with Netflix, Amazon, and Disney. So, and Jason Killar was one of the founders of Hulu, and he made Hulu successful. He really did. He's pretty brilliant, pretty amazing, Jason Killar. But that said, what an incredible project he has to try to turn this into a competitor for Netflix. Some of this stuff does make sense, though, that he's doing. I don't know if you'd heard or not, but they are going to probably sell off CNN. And CNN they can sell. Nobody's going to miss it out of Warnermedia. Obviously, doesn't affect any movies or anything like that. And it's great for political influence. So if you're not using CNN for political influence, why own it? You sell it to Jeff Bezos at Amazon. They haven't yet sold DirecTV either, it looks like. They're trying to work a wacky deal with investment bankers who are like these venture capitalists type dudes, hedge funds. I don't exactly know what their financing strategy is of that. But what they have said is that they expect that the percentage that the investors will buy will basically create a value of approximately $15 to $20 billion for what they value DirecTV at. And DirecTV was valued at $65 billion when it was bought just a couple of years ago. What a mess. What a mess. So some of those sources are stating that HBO Max will not be able to compete with Netflix and that AT&T won't fork out the dough to let HBO Max make it happen. And that as a result, HBO Max will fail. So AT&T will sell off either part of or all of Warnermedia in its entirety, again, including DC Comics. The article offers a year or two timeline when that can happen, which means the fate of DC Comics may lay at the fate of HBO Max. Well, I did a video about this a couple of months ago, and what is going to happen, I guarantee you what's going to happen is, because they're doing all of this strategically with Warnermedia also, they've got themselves a good CEO in Jason Kilar, because you would believe that the guy who created Hulu, if you let him kind of make his own streaming service out of these classic legacy media franchises that DC and Warner Brothers have, that sure, he can create a streaming service. Why not? Also, you got to keep in mind, HBO is an incredible brand. Fox was trying to buy HBO for $80 billion back in 2014. Because you would think about it, like HBO is what? It's the primary streaming service from back in the day, right? From the started 1970s HBO. People are used to paying money every month just to have access to whatever content HBO puts out. It's always an extra premium add-on for a cable subscription. So HBO and Netflix should not be able to compete with HBO. It's just that they're so far ahead and they've never done anything with HBO. So you take HBO and make it HBO Plus, that could be a something. The other thing is HBO is Max is going to get this incredible advantage of, well, we've got Wonder Woman, we've got Dune, we've got, all these other films coming out, Matrix 4, and you can see them in HBO Max immediately. And the other thing they'll have is, if you go see Wonder Woman in the movie theater, a lot of people, if they love a movie, like the Joker movie is a good example, the recent one, they'll go back to the theaters and they'll see it again and again and again. Well, if you love a movie that you go see in a movie theater, maybe you'll go and you'll rent it. You'll not rent it. You'll go and subscribe to HBO Max so you can watch it again and again and again and again. I think they're going to get a lot of that. And if you think about it too, like all of their movie poster marketing, all of their promotion is all going to say, now available in theaters and HBO Max. So it's going to be great for HBO Max. They're going to get a hell of a lot more subscribers off of this. It's a good use of $3 billion. If I was them, I probably would do the same sort of thing. Well, especially because how do you do anything with movie theaters now? They're like practically all going out of business. The article offers a year or two timeline when it could happen, which means the fate of DC Comics may lay fate of HBO Max. All right, we did cover that. DC Comics, look, here's the thing with DC Comics is, and Ethan was talking about this, about DC Comics potentially closing. Let's get into this. This isn't the first time we've heard about At&T potentially selling off its DC Comics brand. As former DC Comics artist and super creator Ethan Van Sciver has pointed out on many occasions it could happen. And Ethan is connected to all these guys. A lot of the head editorial people and artists that are freaking out about what they're being told by the company about future work. Van Sciver pointed to an article published last year by Barron's that was in regards to hedge fund Elliott Management having disclosed a whopping $3.2 billion stake in At&T, which is it's not a big percentage of the company. I mean, it's a few percentage points. Maybe it's 5%. Is it 5% even? I don't think so. Who offered they weren't happy with the performance of At&T stock and called on At&T to streamline its bureaucratic organization, remove redundant positions, and consider outsourcing non-core functions in order to save At&T billions. Yeah, the Elliott Management guys are finance guys. So they go in, they look at a business that's operating, they say, okay, how do we cut costs? How do we get rid of people? Elliott Management did this with Bass Shops and another Cabela's. They combined the two, and there was like this entire town that depended on Cabela's like for a living. They employed so many people. They just shut all down, all the operations of Cabela's, all the office operations. They combined it with Bass Shops, and they made a bunch of money at Elliott Management. But of course, everyone lost their whole way of life. And that is what happens with financial people. You can kind of see this about the attitude with DC Comics, with Diamond Comic distributors and the retailers. They could care less. They don't even regard the comic book stores. So when you've got a major investor involved, who's also probably telling them, look, we'll help you with this public offering. So they could take Warnermedia. They probably are not going to go take Warnermedia and like sell it to Amazon for $110 billion. What they would probably do, because you get the most money out of it this way, is you take the company, you offer it as a separate company, maybe 10% of it, some small slice of it, as a public entity after they could, as its own public company. So people could invest money and they have a small percentage. Why a small percentage? Because the less stock available, usually the higher price. It's kind of like a supply and demand. And they'll get a higher valuation for the overall company that way. That's the only way At&T is going to get its money out of the $170 billion they spent on buying this thing. Interestingly, though, Elliott, which I had not heard this, recently sold $150 million in At&T stock at a loss last month. And that is interesting that they're like, it's just not working out the way we thought it would. This was Elliott management also made their investment before all the pandemic stuff. So they couldn't have known that it would be this much of a problem. DC Comics recently made a number of changes at the executive editorial level, with Jim Lee supposedly said to be leaving the company, is currently rumored to be closing down in June. Of course, they've had massive layoffs. They got rid of their editor-in-chief. DC Comics, unbelievable amount of downsizing and basically just getting rid of a lot of overhead and a lot of people. Van Sciver has said that while At&T may close down or sell DC Comics, the characters, at least the popular ones like Batman and Superman, will carry on in some form, as it's likely, if not sold off completely, the popular characters will be licensed to other companies for publishing. I would license Batman. I would make cool Batman comics. I would make Batman, I don't know, I'd make him nice again, like the Batman that everybody really likes. Actually, I think I'd get a hold of the old school creative editor guys. Be like, let's bring back Batman, like a classic kind of Batman, not a weekly Batman, maybe a monthly Batman. Do a series of cool graphic novels. I don't know. I think they have to make a decision about like canon and stop like creating so many crazy versions of the same character. I think it's confusing. I think it's fun for the people that already like the project. But if you see like Batman, the One Who Laughs, and you show that to someone who's not really familiar with what's going on with Batman, how the hell do they know? Like, well, what is this? It doesn't even. It's not what you think Batman would be, and it's not what you want them to think that Batman is. So at some point, they have to like get back to the core. Yeah, if they were to sell the rights, like Marvel already has licensing deals with IDW, so it's not a question that would they license Batman to another company. Absolutely, they would if they got enough money for it. They'd be happy to do that and not publish Batman comics, or let other people publish Batman comics and publish their own and continue to publish their own, like they did with IDW with Spider-Man. IDW is publishing its own Spider-Man comics, which is completely bizarre, but so is Marvel, and there you go. Why not? But there is value, tremendous value to the DC characters. They can be bases. Obviously, they make movies, TVs, shows, video games, and other crazy licensing and media and merchandise. They're not going to give that up. Even if HBO Max is a big success with DC Comics at the lowest end of the At&T total poll, the success of HBO Max might not matter when it comes down to the future state of DC Comics in terms of publishing. Yeah, everything they do has to be about what's going to work for their streaming service, this HBO Max, which I predict they will change the name to HBO Plus, because it's a much better name. What are you guys saying here in the comments? Oh, Don Chen. Hey, Don Chen. Gaming or what, TM? How is it going? It's going good. Thank you for asking, sir. You know what? While we chat, I'm going to pull up the Mermaids. Mermaids is going along. I'm pretty psyched about the Mermaids. The Mermaids is a different project, obviously, than College of the Dead. It's a zombie page not found. How dare you? How dare you? We've got 99. We got 100 backers on the Mermaids. Thank you for that last backer. That is exciting. It's very exciting for me. 100 backers and $40 shy of 6,000. It took 8 weeks, 60 days to get, to 5,300 or something on College of the Dead Book 1. Every time you introduce something new, you kind of never know how it's going to go. So you have to be passionate about it. You have to see how it goes. You see what people like and give the people what they want. And speaking of which, I must regard the amazing chat. Oh, Rainbolt. Didn't see you in there. Rainbolt. let me get my chat going, brothers and sisters. Great to see you guys. Great to see you guys. Rainbow, of course, VileNed. VileNed likes to say hey all, and it's always appreciated. AT&T is said to be shopping around CNN too. They're dismantling. Yeah, they're going to sell CNN. There's no reason for them to own CNN. CNN has been losing money, but it's an incredible political weapon. So expect Jeff Bezos to buy it. If you're Amazon and you haven't bought CNN yet, you know you're losing an opportunity to really brainwash the public. So come on, you got to get up on that thing. Buy it, Jeff. Spend some money. Blue Teddy Narrations. Good morning to you too. Rainbolt. You think HBO Max is meant to be a portmanteau, okay, of HBO and its sister channel Cinemax? Yeah, HBO Max is they want a Netflix competitor, and they think that their quality is better than the programming of Netflix. That's what Jason Keller has said. The head of Netflix, Reed Hastings, has said he respects the quality of HBO very much, and it is. It's HBO is a high quality brand. Hopefully, they keep it that way. Hail Postman, hail Moot Point. Great to see you. I don't think that's a moot point. I think that's very relevant. I too believe that we should hail the Postman. Great to see you. John Dacre, did they ever sell DirecTV? No, not yet. And they're going to just sell a small piece of it. Good to see you, the Johan. Good to see you, Dale A. CNN doesn't really make money. It does not. It makes brainwashed heads, though, which is very effective. They fooled my brother. Yeah, we love Johan. CNN is projected to lose a ton of money without Trump in office. They're already losing money. Again, it's just influence. This is the thing. We're moving into a world now, guys, where it's not about making money for the big companies. They already have enough money. And rich people. They want more and more and more influence. Their whole currency is influence. It's getting kind of creepy. It don't make any sense to me. I'm about making money. Let's make money. Let's back the mermaids. Let's support other CG projects like Starlight Cats that's still in demand. An incredible first book from the amazing Shane Davis. We should be we're going to build our own world here where we do things because they're cool and they make money. Ahoy, ahoy. What about? Good to see you too. Mighty Joe, not closing, just going full digital. They're shutting down a lot of DC. I did a video about this a couple months ago. Jim Lee was in Hollywood Reporter. And what did he say? He was like, well, about 20% of our line wasn't making money, wasn't making a profit. And we're going to be focusing on digital first in the future. So first of all, just as a publishing guy, I'm going to tell you, when we say things that are weaselly like that, like, well, 20% of the books weren't making a profit, he's not including the expense of like salaries, offices, executives, things like that. He's not including that. If 20% of them were making a profit after those expenses, that would be a miracle. No way was DC making a profit on 80% of their comics. Maybe if you took all the costs of the books being printed, and then, and the artists, the direct expenses to produce and ship that one comic without any of the salaries, maybe paying the artists, maybe. No chance, though. I mean, really, no way. So they're going to go full digital. Why are they going to go full digital? Well, I got to be honest with you guys about digital. There is a future to digital. I like real comics, real mermaid comics, baby. No, I like real comics. I'm going to be producing and shipping real physical comics forever. I love them. And so will COMICSGATE. I'm sure of that. But digital is catching on. It is starting to catch on. I was talking with another independent publisher friend of mine that gets, he's in the direct market, but he gets a lot of business from, schools. They do all ages, and, he's skewing younger and stuff like that. And we were talking the other day, and he's like, just out of the blue, he's like, hey, I got to tell you, our digital is starting to pay off. They're getting a percentage of digital. It doesn't mean it's right for COMICSGATE, but it's going to be a thing because people are getting more and more involved in digital. DC has a potential because they have such a huge library, right? That all they have to do is to trick people, and I do say trick, and I freaking mean it, trick people into signing up for a subscription for DC Comics. If you do that, if you sign up for subscription to DC's digital comic service to have access to new things, new exclusives, and you sign up for their backlog, and they get you one time. This is why they love streaming. They get you one time to sign up. They own you. They got you as a customer. Think about all these things. I subscribe to Amazon's Audible. I haven't listened to a book from Audible for like a year and a half. I don't have time for that. But then it's like, well, should I like cancel it? And I'm like, nah, I'm not going to really cancel it. Like, and you keep building up credits. It's kind of like, well, I'll just kind of keep that going for a while, I guess. So yeah, I don't have a tendency to drop off of so that's a powerful thing to have a subscription like that. Mighty Joe says, how long till Disney buys Warner or Warner buys Disney? Well, I mean, AT&T, Warner is a child of AT&T. So I don't think, but it's not a separate company yet. AT&T is not going to spend any more money buying anything. They have to figure out how to get their money back. In fact, AT&T is now talking about, AT&T normally had like an annual dividend. So every year they'd pay $15 billion out to AT&T stockholders. They're going to stop that because they don't have the money. Dividend's supposed to be a profit. Like you make a profit. Here's your $15 billion. You own the stock. Hopefully the stock goes up, but at least you get that dividend every month. It's like a reason that people buy stock like that. But realistically, they can't afford it. So they're not going to do it. So they don't have the money. But Disney is doing great with Disney Plus. They have like 75 million subscribers. So they're going to keep doing it. They're going to keep going. But they're not going to buy. I don't see them buying each other. I mean, HBO Plus, it's what they should rename HBO Max. I can see that becoming its own thing very quick. I could see Warner Brothers taking AT&T taking that company, renaming it to HBO Plus, and popping that thing out as its own company, competing directly with Disney. Going digital, Moot Point says, must be a sound business option since it's not only DC, but it's Allegiance Arts too. Allegiance Arts is going digital? I know they're in Walmart. Makes one wonder before Crimson comic book does. Yeah, they got to ship that Red Rooster book. The problem with selling to Walmart, like they'll take your comics, they'll work with you. They'll take your money. And what I don't know a lot about Allegiance Arts deal with Walmart. I know they're got to be selling them returnable. There's no question about that, which means whatever they don't sell, Walmart's not going to pay for. But they hired some consultant or whatever, and these consultants get you into distribution, and you can pay them, and you can do all that. But it's really almost crazy to have to put books on shelves and pay to print and produce and distribute those books on shelves, and then just pray to God that they're going to sell every month, especially in the middle of a pandemic. I mean, we don't even know really the country is going to be fine no matter what. But I don't like that. I mean, I would like digital a hell of a lot better than I like returnable comics. I was in that years ago. We tried that and we lost a couple $100,000 doing it. Don Chin, great to see you. Don Chin has got X-Force Reloaded coming up soon, a parody comic. I'm going to get a nice stream going with Don Chin. He and I are going to talk about the old parody comics days and the new parody comics days, because there's new stuff coming from Don, and I have a secret project coming out pretty soon. Mighty Joe says they only lease the print option and keep rights to use the stories, images, and merchandise. Yeah, this is the thing with some of these businesses too, like these business units, like the comics publishing. You have to think of it this way: like the reason direct market even existed in the first place, like comic stores, was the technology started to allow it to be like, all right, well, you can get, even going back to newsstand comics. Why were newsstand comics put out on newsstands? Why were they monthly? Why were they on cheap paper? Because that's what the technology allowed. That was the limits of the technology. People would go, you could have a character and a story. Why not do a 1,000-page or a 200-page newsstand comic as a basic format? Because the pricing, the delivery of it, and also the fact that they were returnable. If you're going to print stuff and then make it returnable, it's incredibly important about like what your costs are to produce that damn thing, right? Because you can't, if you're going to put it on high quality paper, that's fine for the people that buy it. The people that don't buy it, that all gets thrown away. So the technology of newsprint paper, cheap paper, that's a solution. That's a technology solution. That technology was appropriate for returnable comic books, not really high quality paper. So that was that. As far as newsstands go, they either put on newsstands. That's where you distributed magazines. They considered comics to be like magazines. and there were distributors for magazines in place. So that's what they would do. So as time goes on with non-returnable comics through comic book stores, now you had a situation where you knew, like, I could print this book, I could print a certain amount of these. I'm going to get comic book stores to agree to buy them on a non-returnable basis. I know I'm getting paid. I don't have to worry about it as a publisher if they sell or not. I mean, you do have to worry, because the people who, if stores buy your stuff and they can't resell it, eventually they go out of business. So you have to be responsible. But it's a different thing about worrying, like, oh, well, there was a rainstorm and or you know, we're at war or some other crazy thing happening, and, like, you know, all the books get returned, or also theft from newsstand distributors. I don't know, like, this is like getting kind of intricate, but newsstand distributors would sometimes steal like mother effers. They would. I mean, God bless them for existing for as long as they did, but newsstand distributors would steal. They would just like say, oh yeah, we didn't sell. Like, they sold plenty, and then pay you and not pay you for everything you sold. But you can, if you're selling to comic stores or direct to consumer, like we do with Indiegogo, like I'm doing with the Mermaids. You know, we know what our production costs are going to be, so we can put extra money into great quality paper. Again, it's the technology, you know, permits it. So is digital the next frontier, you know, for comics? Digital is just another thing we can do to be able to reach people. It doesn't really fit well, I don't think, with Indiegogo. I really don't. And I think the core product always should be the printed physical comic. No question about it. But maybe digital, you know, maybe there's a digital solution for us one day. But from what I'm hearing from some other publisher friends, they're finding some success with it. So it's kind of interesting. A super chat from Ehsan Dulin. Thank you very much for that, for $1.99. Keep up the great work. I appreciate it. I need to work even harder. I need to be even greater, and you guys help make it happen. So is DC Comics going to go broke? I think eventually. No, these companies are beyond going broke. They've got, you know, access to billions and billions of dollars. So they won't go broke. Will they stop publishing their own comics? They might. They might. I mean, who is DC Comics? You know, we talk about Warnermedia being sold. It's like, now it's owned by AT&T. Who owns AT&T? Who? I mean, it's not a guy. It's, you know, a bunch of different companies own, and individual investors, and have ownership of the stock of AT&T. So who the heck, you know, even really owns it anymore? There's no face to these things. So is someone going to want to publish comic books based on Batman and Superman? Of course they will. Ehsan also says a smaller company owning DC would actually care about the comics. Yeah, they would. Yeah, everything in industry, guys, is getting so weird. Everything in business is getting crazy weird, where it's not about making a profit. The small companies like me, everybody else in COMICSGATE, we care about every dollar. We care about every dollar we spend. We care about every dollar we get. We care about making sure every customer is happy. And it's not just because we're cool people. It's because we do not have a business. There is no business if your customers are not happy. In our business, in DC Comics, in you know, Marvel Comics, in their movies and their content, they don't need every customer to be happy. Netflix lost millions of subscribers over the Crazy Cuties movie. I did a couple of videos about that. And just to understand, like, the way that their stock is valued, every subscriber is worth $2,000 to Netflix, 2 G's, every subscriber. So when they lose 1,000 subscribers, it's 1,000 times 2,000. That's a big number. If they lost 1 million subscribers, it's equivalent to like $2 billion. It's a lot, maybe even more. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. But again, their stock price goes all over the place. They don't really care. They really don't care. They would only care if something was happening to them and like it really threatened their business. But yeah, this is why, if you're working with people that are publishing their own stuff, you know, independent comics people, or you can hear creative people talk about the product, you know, not talk about like fairness and representation of the cast. Then, you know, like, people they're not caring about merit. They're not caring about making the right thing. That's a scary thing. It really is a scary thing. I need to do signed copies of the Mermaids. Mermaids is available as a signed thing just upon request. I didn't do it as an option. I saw that I think Billy did that with his new Tucci. Haikyo. Watch back Haikyo from Billy Tucci. He has it as an option on a comic, and I really ought to have done that. So if you want to offer a comic, this is a good Indiegogo tip. You can do something smarter than what I did. Be like Billy Tucci. You can offer your main comic. You don't have to offer it as a variant. And then you can offer a selection of, do you want it to be signed or unsigned? Because that's one of the things, I don't like signing books because I don't know if people want them to be signed or perfect or not. I kind of want I love having my comics signed, but I don't know that everybody does. So I have to, that's a good option when you're setting up. Don, look at how Billy did Haikyo when you're ready to launch your project. You could do as an alternate. I do own some original art from the Mermaids. I'm reluctant to sell it because I freaking love it so much. I probably have to offer it as a tier. So Don, keep yelling at me about that. I gotta do that. I gotta probably do that. I just don't want to part with any of it, but I probably should. Mighty Joe says they'd be making more off selling Turner Broadcasting. Man of Action. Man of Action says the problem from the get-go was AT&T buying all these companies. The government should have shut that shit down before they pull the trigger. The government, the government did fight with AT&T buying Warnermedia. They did. And I think it had a little bit to do with Trump's relationship with CNN. But in terms of AT&T having the right to buy these companies, it's not like really a monopoly. So it's not like AT&T is in the long-distance phone business and a couple of other businesses before they got into buying these media assets. So is it really something that's competitive? It's not really anti-competitive to do that. It does get them to control a lot of stuff, but it's not really like anti-competitive. I mean, they haven't controlled the market really in anything anymore. AT&T. Hey, Hex Allen, great to see you. Violet. Will there be a mercats in the Mermaids? Possible crossover with Shane? Yes. There should be. We have a shark in there, but we don't really have that so much. Man of Action, are you putting together a package to make College of the Dead TV series or a movie? I don't have any real plans to get to spend time on that or trying to get to do that. I mean, it would be very cool to have a College of the Dead. Have you guys seen that? If you haven't backed it, check it out. It's still in demand. collegeofthedead.com. I don't have I'd love to do film and TV and stuff like that. In fact, I have to do this story. There's going to be a spin-off TV show of Amazon Island from Wonder Woman. Pretty similar conceptually to the Mermaids, I think, except I don't know if they're going to do the whole royalty thing or not like we did. They might, but I would love to do TV shows and movies. I have a couple of friends I know that are in that business, but there's nothing actively on it. But we put so much into making sure like that the story was great, the characters were cool, and working with the creators on producing and putting all this stuff together that they could be. There's a lot of thought behind them. I would love to do it. Sour Skittle says a lot of people just forgot to cancel. Yeah, on subscriptions. They're making money off AOL because people forgot to cancel. Some people, they're still subscribed to AOL, I think. And you just keep paying every month. You just keep paying and paying and paying, and like you don't even think about it. I can so relate. I have a bunch of subscriptions like that. I almost signed up for another one recently for a VPN. I'm like, I don't really need a VPN. Any thoughts on the analyst who was arguing to merge? Yeah, I saw that article. Okay, NBC Universal and Warnermedia recently in Hollywood Reporter. Here's the thing, and this is related to the comic book publishing. And sometimes people forget how important management is, like the guy who's actually running things and who's responsible to get things done. So when they in DC Comics brought in this guy Daniel Cherry to be the general manager of DC Comics, which is to mean that for a general manager position, I did a good amount I knew a good amount about this, but I did some research on it as well. And what AT&T does with their general managers is this: they want people to be responsible for the business operations, like hiring, firing, okay, this is our normal structure, not for strategy. They do that strategy at a higher level if it's a general manager. Some CEO sets the strategy. The general manager is there to do the job of running the business as well as accountability for profit and loss. So when you're running DC Comics, Daniel Cherry's running DC Comics as a business, he's got to figure out that's got to make a profit, theoretically, or lose as little as possible. Strategically, at the higher levels, the CEO of Warnermedia, Jason Kilar, could be saying like, listen, we're not trying to pay our bills based on DC Comics, but we don't want this to be a big financial embarrassment when we try to make this its own public company. Like, we've got to be able to say all the great things that DC Comics is doing, and like they have cool stories and cool characters and classic legendary characters, but it can't be an effing embarrassment. And it would be nice if it showed like in the future there's a way to potentially make some money on it. So with comics in particular, if you can't hire an executive to directly be in charge of a profitable business unit, meaning like we're going to make real profit running DC Comics, then they cannot publish DC Comics. Now, they can publish some, whatever, but they can't make it a real business focus. And if they can't say that publishing these periodical magazines that made sense in the 1940s, and for a little while, maybe during the direct market, although some people dispute that DC was, ever significantly profitable with publishing their comics. But in any case, if they have no way of saying, like, strategically, this is going to be great for the future, or short term, it's going to be making a profit very soon, they can't justify being in that business division. Licensing's easy. You just take a check, but and it's not easy, but it's easier because people write big checks for licensing. When I was working with Platinum Studios on their board of directors, I'll give you an example without telling you anything I shouldn't tell you. The Cowboys and Aliens made money with licensing. Cowboys and Aliens has a slot. Listen to this. They still have it, I think. I'm trying not to tell you the wrong thing, but they got money, like 6 figures, for licensing the rights, not for the movie, but based on the comic of Cowboys and Aliens. They got money, 6 figures, for the rights to do a Cowboys and Aliens slot machine online game. Online gaming, literally, for Cowboys and Aliens. And yeah, it was, relatively okay sized movie. Domestically did a little more than $100 million. It wasn't that big a deal. But could you imagine, like, all right, you want to make a Mermaids slot machine game, like, just for online? So it's just an online game. It doesn't really exist. We're ready to give you $100,000 for those rights. Like, okay, well, that sounds like a pretty good idea. So that's what's going on with licensing versus putting together a comic book package, promoting it. You guys are amazing. Thank you for supporting the Mermaids. But, it's a lot of promotion. It's a lot of work. But to get a 6-figure licensing check just for online slot machine games, that's one little tiny category, and it's non-exclusive. So to get back to Rainbolt's point about, like, well, what about that analyst that was saying, what if we combined NBC Universal and Warnermedia and made a real business out of it? The problem is in the whole management of all of this. Warnermedia, it's a mess. They're firing people left and right. They're restructuring the whole business. The whole Warnermedia is a dice throw on, can we make it look like we are the next Netflix, or can we be a close number 2 to Netflix? Can we beat out Disney Plus somehow with Warnermedia, with the HBO brand? That's what they're hustling and trying to do. So when I look at it like, well, you're going to merge these two companies, what I'm thinking about is, who's going to manage that? Who's going to execute on that? Talking about comic book universe, because it keeps coming back to me like, I am so hungry for a comic book universe with continuity and with common aesthetics to the quality of this stuff. I did one in the 1990s, Triumphant Comics. We published 6 different titles. It was going to get up to 8, and the market kind of went sideways. Couldn't really continue it. But I would love to do a true comic book universe. So there are people who've done that before. Jim Shooter has done it a few times. So if you were going to tell me, like, well, Adam, you've got Jim Shooter, he will be the editor-in-chief of your comic book universe, then I would say, all right, he knows how to do that sort of thing. I do too, but he knows how to do it from a top to bottom level, like on every production level, and he wouldn't need anyone else to help him do it. I definitely would need people to help me do it. Backers, but it's beyond money. It's it just who has the skill set to really pull that off, to really have that continuity, to really make sure the quality is great, to get the books out on time consistently. It doesn't have to be periodicals. Whatever you're promising to do, a series of graphic novels, like who could really do that? I can do part of it personally. I have the skill set. But the point is, you need management to do stuff. Managers have to execute. You do not need management to publish The Mermaids. You don't need management to publish an amazing book. Go ahead, if you haven't backed it, take a look at Dan Frager's Black Flag. He can do that himself. He can do all the art. He can do the story. But if you're going to put together like a force, a collection of stories, legends, and not just one or two, but like a collection of legends like Marvel did, like DC did from back in the day, that people are going to know these characters for the next 40 or 50 years, you got to have management in place. So I would not combine. I don't know who could combine, NBC, Universal, and Warnermedia and make that work. So it's you want to always look at the management. That's what AT&T did not do when they acquired Warner Brothers and they acquired DirecTV. I mean, DirecTV, the wheels have fallen off of the damn thing. So who was the manager that they were going to use to make DirecTV viable? Or do they just figure like, well, it's just going to kind of work? I mean, it's a big company. They must have managers over there. I'm sure they talked to a few people. But just the idea of like, well, we've got to be a player. I don't know if you guys know who the Discovery Channel is. This is a big issue. I want to talk about this, Jared. I'll talk about that next. Who's going to supposed to be you buy DirecTV and you don't have a CEO? Like, I don't know, man. The management part is so crucial. I think AT&T's got a great manager with Jason Kilar for Warnermedia. If he can turn that into HBO Plus, that's what I think it should be. We can turn HBO Max into a Netflix success or a Disney Plus success. They got a winner. It's got potential, but it was just a total freaking gamble. Jared brings up an interesting point. I've been wanting to do a video about this, and it is something I'm looking at, and it's straight up disturbing. So NASDAQ, okay, so you don't have to know a lot about stocks. I don't know that much about stocks myself, but I know enough, a little this and that. New York Stock Exchange has a lot of the world's major companies on it, but also so does NASDAQ. NASDAQ's a major stock exchange company, which basically means if you have a public company and you want people to be able to buy and sell it, it's bought and sold on an exchange. So there are a lot of different exchanges, but the two big mainstream ones really are the New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ. NASDAQ has a lot of technology companies. It's very credible. There are a lot of companies depend on it. NASDAQ has a lovely female CEO. And I'm going to look up this article because it's so freaking nutty. It's so freaking nutty. Oh, on the issue of Discovery. Discovery is launching Discovery Plus. That's what I wanted to mention. It's going to be it's going to be just like Disney Plus. It's going to be subscription service. It's going to be $4.99. They own a ton of channels. The Food Channel, Discovery Network, Lifetime, A&E, TLC, and they're all like nonfiction programming. And they're going to get it with they're going to launch through Verizon. So they're going to have like immediately whoever's on Verizon Unlimited, I think it's January 1st they're launching, is going to get Discovery Plus for free. And everyone else can pay $4.99 for an ad-supported version or $7 for a free version. But the point is they didn't have to buy Verizon, and Verizon didn't have to buy them to get that deal. So AT&T buying Warnermedia is basically completely unnecessary. They could have just done some kind of creative deal like Verizon did. Verizon helped launch Disney Plus. So the Discovery Network is coming out of the blue. With a huge $50 million subscriber base from Verizon without having to spend billions of dollars and risk all this money. It's really is pretty incredible. And apparently for cable watching, like the CEO was saying, like 60% of all viewers are interested in this non-scripted reality stuff. And they're going to have a channel that's all non-scripted reality stuff. And they have endless, they're launching like 50 new shows that they've announced for this. 50 new shows. Like that's a good deal. That's very cool. Their stock's been doing very well as a result. NASDAQ, this diversity push with NASDAQ is so creepy. You guys might have heard that California, the state of California, made this new rule where, ew, this is so creepy, guys. This is so creepy. I'll put this up. Freaks me out so much. So California, the state of California made this new rule where if you are a public company, you had to have at least like one woman on it, on the board of the company, like as some sort of minimum quota. And it's like, well, what are you talking about? It's like, well, no, you got to have at least because we want women to be on the boards because they bring a different point of view that's really diverse. And Don Chin. Oh, another super chat. Sorry, guys. I'm getting a little caught up here. Don, thank you for backing my 125 tier. That is phenomenal. Sign would be great. Don, you got it. Anything for you, Don Chin. Don is my buddy from back in the day. We used to compete, but we're thick as thieves now. We're buddies. So it's very, very cool. We gotta get on and talk about old comics days. The Competent Man for a $2 super chat. DirecTV is a disaster. Bought it for $50 billion, selling for $20 billion. No, man, a Competent Man, you're absolutely right. But you will now be more competent because I'll tell you a secret. They acquired it with debt. So it was really like a $64 billion purchase price. And now they're valuing it for $20 billion. Insane. Completely insane. Deltaverse, and we're going to get into this article right. Deltaverse, Adam Post. NASDAQ was primarily a tech company stocks and then expanded, but the same as the S&P. You could buy stock in them and have that be part of any stock they hold. They're going to plummet. Meaning, scarily, they're not going to plummet, man. That the stocks aren't going to go down. Because this is the reason why it's scary. It's not scary that people are on the sidelines making weird, crazy noise. It's not scary. You know, anybody could be on the sidelines saying, you need to do this. You need to think more about the environment. That isn't scary. What's scary is if you pay attention, everyone like to these business channels, CNBC, Bloomberg, the guys who are in control of investing pensions, like this huge one called BlackRock, not Blackstone, but BlackRock. They control the pensions of like all these public employees. And they're saying things like, we're going to stop investing in any companies that are involved in the oil industry. And I'm like, well, what are you talking about? And they're like, well, yeah, you know, and they go in there in this interview and they're like, well, yeah, what we want to do is we want to make sure that, you know, that these are energy companies who are, you know, going to have renewable energy. It's like, what do you know about renewable energy? You know, so they're interviewing the guy and he's like, well, I have been getting like these articles from people. Hey, Soapmaker, good to see you. And a note on Brightwisers. Oh, I don't want to say stuff I don't know about. So Violet, thanks for the update. Brightwisers sent an email yesterday that said all the artwork has been completed. Yay, the campaign has now been closed. Okay. Well, I would have hoped they closed the campaign sooner. So all the work is completed for Red Rooster per Violet, per the Brightwisers. So hopefully Red Rooster will be shipping really, really soon. They certainly should ship it. But the thing that's scary is, yeah, these guys are getting together who control funds and they control money. And it's not just their money, it's other people's pensions and stuff. And they're trying to push this social justice agenda stuff as part of the investing, you know, and it's not about money anymore. That is a big problem. That is, it's first of all, it's not even legal. It's not legal to say that you have priorities. You can have, you know, charity is one thing. You can say whatever you want to give a percentage of charity, that's all fine. But when you start to say that you're going to be making business decisions and business investments that are not dependent on merit, They're not dependent on return of investment. They are something to do with like some social benefit, some social return, but that you're primarily, it's your social return. Again, not like, well, we want to consider customers. We want to consider supporting other Americans. Those things are fine, but you still have to show that like when you're handling other people's money, when you're handling a pension fund, when you're handling money, if you're taking on an investor, you have to think about the investors of the company making a good return on an investment. And a good return on investment is not diversity. It is not. That's communism. That is not what we're supposed to have in this country. So this is coming from CNBC's cute Make It site, but there have been other articles on CNBC. Could NASDAQ's proposed diversity mandates be the key to changing corporate America? Let's get into the article. Before we do, also be sure you're subscribed to the channel and click the bell for notifications. Corporate America has long been criticized for its lack of gender and racial diversity, with underrepresented racial groups making up just 12.5% of board seats at the 3,000 largest publicly traded companies, and women making up just 21%. Well, it seems like a lot to me. And I don't know how you calculate that either. Like, what about your 25% percentage of your diverse makeup or something like that? So the way they're introducing this is to say like, well, look, if you have board seats, now what are board seats? On a corporate board is actually usually very important. So if you have a public company, you can have it with a private company too, but a public company, that's how you destroy the free market. Absolutely, Andy. You don't destroy the free market by backing the mermaids, though. That creates more free market. Hello, Stefani. How are you? You have a beautiful, beautiful book. And hopefully it's still out there, Thomas Moya. But let's get back to the article. Yeah, the board of a public company basically works like this. And I was actually on the board of a small public company, Platinum Studios. So the way it works is they are supposed to be, they have like, call it a fiduciary responsibility, a legal responsibility to kind of oversee what's going on with the company. It doesn't make you responsible for everything the company does, but you're the ones who are supposed to be keeping an eye out on management and making sure they are focused on a smart strategy that's going to make a profit for the investors, and that the company is taking advantage of new opportunities. You get together sometimes quarterly, you get together sometimes annually, and you just talk about the business, you talk about the people involved. You also agree on the salaries of the executives and their compensation. So the board is like, kind of like, I didn't always used to be the gray-haired one, but it's like the gray hair at the company, the people that are like, all right, let's just make sure things are not going crazy over there. That's what the board's basically supposed to do, that you're running the business for a business purpose, and that assets are also not being used in ways they're not supposed to be used at the company. You're just kind of keeping an eye on the company for the benefit of the investors. So what's going to happen if they just start hiring people for the purposes of gender diversity and racial diversity? Did you know that mermaid is a gender? It is. I don't talk about it enough, but maybe we'll talk about it in another stream. But people can consider themselves to be mermaids. So I'd like to know how many mermaids, are represented on public company boards. But to this point, if you have like people going on a board of a public company that's making financial decisions, this is how people invest in their future in these public companies. And you're going to like, so all right, you get your mermaid, or you have someone who's racially diverse or whatever, not merit-based, but just it's got to be racially diverse. That's more important than merit. Okay. On that board, those people get votes. So when they're deciding like, no, I don't want to go into this industry, I don't want to go into this business. Why? Well, because, it's bad for the company or whatever. These people are going to come with their own wacky priorities. And I'll tell you something. Of course, I don't have a problem with anybody of any gender. They could be mermaid, they could be female, they could be a mermaid, they could be part of the zombies or whatever. They could be superhero gender, whatever they want to be, they could be. But they have to come in based on merit. There's a matter of fairness, but there's a matter of like, it's a real job to oversee a company and to protect that company as being part of the board of directors. It's sort of like if you're babysitting a neighbor's kid or your brother has a kid. It doesn't matter what the gender is. And like, hey, can you babysit? We have to go away for the weekend or something like that. You have to actually pay attention to that child. Otherwise, like, bad things could happen. That's what the board is supposed to do. They're supposed to look after. So if you go ahead and you put people on the board and they know they're a diversity hire, which used to be a derogatory statement, nobody would want to be known as a diversity hire. They want to know that, like, yeah, I'm here because I belong here, but no longer. So those people are going to be part of making a decision, and they're going to make constant statements about diversity if they are diversity hires. That's what they're there for. Chinese companies have members of their Communist Party on the board, right? So what do you think they're there for? They're there to look out for the interests of the Communist Party. So it doesn't make you a communist if you're a diversity hire for a board. It just means, like, what in the F are you doing there? Why are you there instead of like someone who knows something about the industry they're in? So if you're on the board of AT&T and there are decisions to be made about, like, should we rename the company, like Adam Post says, to HBO Plus, because everybody already knows HBO and everybody now knows Plus means streaming and you're getting more of the brand. It's a premium version of the brand. It's actually brilliant. We should write me a big check right now. Jason Killer, if you're watching, CEO of Warnermedia, steal my idea, but at least back the mermaids. I would appreciate that. If you're the CEO of Warnermedia. But no, if you're on the board and you're making like these intelligent business decisions that are going to affect jobs, it's going to affect investment, it's going to affect entertainment. There are so many crucial things that are tied up. In the meantime, you have this woman who represents the leather jacket gender, and she's on the board. And it's like, I don't know if she's competent or not. I don't even know who the hell she is. I think it's just a stock photo. But you really can't do that to companies. I mean, you can, but then you create so many inefficiencies. It's terrible. All right. To fix this issue, several companies and even a few states have implemented diversity mandates. Oh, so horrible. Horrible. Earlier this year, Goldman Sachs, which is a big investment and finance company, said it would not take a company public. Yeah, I heard this, unless it had one diverse board candidate, one diversity hire, with CEO David Solomon saying they will place a special focus on women. I like a special focus on women, but usually that's when I'm checking them out because women are hot. What can I tell you? That's what I like. But a special focus on women. What are you saying? Like, we want to have a woman board member? Like, okay, there are competent women board members, but how are you even going to fill those spots? But then the thing is, again, what do you want if you have a diversity hire and anywhere in your company? Like, you're hiring them for that purpose. I think it's so insulting to say like that women can't make it there on their own. Of course they can. But they have to do it by merit. In 2018, California became the first U.S. state to mandate that all public companies within the state have at least one woman on their board by December 2019. Again, nothing about them being competent. They have to at least identify as a woman by December 2019, resulting in 68 new women being added to company boards following the announcement. This fall, the state implemented a similar law as it relates to racial diversity. Okay. And then eventually they'll have a Communist Party member, just like China does. And then we'll really make sure that companies are diverse, and like diverse in terms of their political systems. You want to have at least one Communist Party board member on all boards. This is going to be, not yet, but China does it. Now NASDAQ is stepping up to the plate with its own diversity mandate that will require listed companies to have at least 2 diverse board members, including one person who self-identifies. Sorry. That's enough as long as somebody identifies as a female. What if they change their identity? Now the board is out of compliance. And one person who self-identifies as an underrepresented minority or LGBTQ plus self-identifies. I mean, so I could self-identify as either of those two things and I could be on the board. A self-identify as an underrepresented minority. So I could literally qualify if I self-identify either as a female, which I will as a stretch goal if we can get the mermaids to $50,000, or self-identify as an underrepresented minority or LGBTQ plus person. So they will accept diversity based on your own personal declaration. Okay, an underrepresented minority, NASDAQ clarifies, is anyone who self-identifies as Black. Oh, sorry. It's got to only be Black or African American, Hispanic or Latinx, Native American or Alaskan Native, Native Hawaiian or Pacific Islander, or Asian. Oh, it's nice of them to include Asians. Usually they do not. Okay. In its proposal for the mandate, by the way, mandate would basically mean they will delist your company. What does it mean you delist your company? Your company that trades on, that is bought and sold on NASDAQ, would be yanked off of the exchange, meaning you could no longer offer your company as a public company through NASDAQ. You'd have to get listed on another stock exchange, which could be the New York Stock Exchange if they would accept you. And they have very strict regulations for accepting companies. By the time you get there, they're going to do this mandate too, probably. Or the over-the-counter markets, the OTC market. And there are other markets as well. But it basically means you're not going to be mainstream, a mainstream company anymore. It would completely screw investors. This is a really, really creepy thing for them to do. The other thing that bothers me about these kinds of mandates is you don't. Hey, it's Joe King. Haven't seen you for a while, buddy. Yeah, Joe, you weren't on. You got suspended on Twitter probably for being too funny, and that's unfortunate because you're good people. Hopefully, Slaughter Squad is rocking it still. Haven't you heard? Agents have. All right, okay, it's this privilege. Hex Allen says leather jacket gender is offensive. The proper term is bovine curious. I don't know if that. See, we mentioned cows all of a sudden, and the guy from Slaughter Squad comes on because he doesn't take no bull. Beefybull.com. Make sure you back beefybull.com. Good to see you, iMonstrous X. Interesting name. What's up, Postman? All sorts of diversity stuff. Man, this is freaky. See, here's what I don't like about their diversity agenda stuff with the mandates. They're not consulting the Civil Rights Division of, government. We have a DOJ Civil Rights Division, like an enormous one. Well, why do we even have one if these companies, these huge public companies and these public exchanges, if they're going to be making diversity mandates and stuff, why are they not consulting the Department of Justice on this stuff where we have already like thousands of you want to know how many people we have? Like 100,000 employees or more in the Department of Justice. You know how many lawyers they have for the Civil Rights Division? Not that they shouldn't, but that's what they're there for. So if they're doing this stuff and they're not consulting the Civil Rights Divisions of the government, what the F are they doing? And where is this decision making coming from? So it's not legitimate if you're not consulting the government. And if you don't want the government to be involved, fine, then drop all the government rules on all the civil rights stuff. You got to pick one or the other if they're going to do this stuff and not in cooperation with the government, because they already have conflicts. DOJ is suing Harvard and I think Yale over their policies with dealing with how they're not treating everyone the same. And it's all just so chaotic. In his proposal for the mandate, which was filed with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission on Tuesday, NASDAQ said that all companies will be required to publicly disclose board-level diversity numbers within 1 year of the policy being approved, and they will be required to have at least one diverse director within 2 years of the policy approval. So now what they want is they want all companies on NASDAQ to start by reporting, give us your papers, on the diversity and whatever genders of all of their board members. See, they're reducing them to just physical things. They're not reducing people to their careers or letting people be qualified on what their skill sets are or what they've accomplished. Which, if you're curious, everybody who's on a board and almost everybody who's any kind of executive and a lot of private ones, public ones for sure, private ones too, look on Bloomberg and type in the name like Bob Iger, and then you'll find other names there that you may not know. I don't think my name is on there, but they will list like the executives and like a paragraph about their background. They keep like a little encyclopedia of them, like a Wikipedia kind of thing, short, but they'll list a paragraph about each person. Now they want to include stupid gender with that and diversity status with that. It's outrageous. It's dehumanizing because we are a lot more than just our genders, and we are a lot more than our skin color or what we decide we want to self-identify as. We are like, our relationships, what we accomplish. We are our word, we are our passions in life, all these things, all of that to be discounted for. What are you, white? Are you black? Are you a woman? Are you gay or not gay? If you're not gay enough, then we don't want to consider you as equal of a person as somebody who is. It's really disturbing, guys. But we have tremendous optimism for the future. There are tremendous opportunities. Don't be depressed, but be aware of it. The time frame for companies to have at least 2 diverse board members will vary from 4 years to 5 years, depending on a company tier in the NASDAQ stock market, with foreign companies and smaller reporting companies having more flexibility to satisfy those requirements with 2 female directors. If a company fails to meet these goals without a public explanation for why, then it can risk being removed from NASDAQ's list. This is so creepy. We are taking the leadership here because there has been so little action on this front, really. And we do think that it's an important thing for us to do. NASDAQ President and CRO, some woman named Adina Friedman, told CNBC Squawk Box right now more than 75% of the roughly 3,200 NASDAQ listed companies do not meet the proposed diversity criteria. What do you think, do you have anything else to focus on, ma'am, as president and CEO of NASDAQ? Could you maybe help the companies in another way other than giving them another regulation to screw around with? Especially in the middle of a pandemic, and economic upheaval everywhere. Maybe there's something else to think about. Maybe you could focus on something else that would help these companies, or anything else. Or maybe go out and ask the companies, what are your priorities? Do you think any companies were contacting them? Hey, RDT, what's up? RT Bear, good to see you, my friend. You would think that some of these companies would be, looking for other help other than this, other than mandates and limitations on their management. Who do you want to get rid of on a board to replace it with a diversity hire? Honestly, who's that person on the board you want to get rid of? And then again, this person is going to come in and they're going to vote. On what basis? Could you imagine they're actually helping to make decisions for the company, these people that are coming in. And again, it's not merit-based. It's based on something other than merit. So when there's 4 people on the board that want to vote to do one thing and 3 people on the board, it's like Supreme Court, that want to do another thing. And that 4th deciding vote is someone who is hired because of their gender, because of their sexual identity, and they're making a decision on the future of the company that's going to affect the employees and the investors. That doesn't seem right. I think you'd want to have somebody competent on there as the first priority. Why doesn't NASDAQ do a reward system then? Reward the company somehow. I don't know how. I don't run NASDAQ. Not this punishment stuff. This person says, I have 2 public companies. I have BGC Partners and Newmark. And both of these companies have women and minorities. Wow, I want to invest in them just based on that, says Howard Lutnick, who also serves as CEO of financial services firm Cantor Fitzgerald, told Squawk Box. Lutnick adds that while NASDAQ's push is a reasonable thing to do, he believes that companies should really be doing this on their own. Okay. Right now, no, but they want to be their own government. Right now, BGC Partners and Newmark have 5 board members that both include a woman and a black, with a capital B, director. Okay. How stupid is this? No one, quote, no one needed to tell me what this was. Okay, no one needed to tell me this is law. Give me a break. He adds, women are half the people on the earth. How do we not have women on your board? Because it's an earned position. Why do you not have 5'6" people on your board? Why don't you have 6'8" people on your board? Why don't you have people on your board that are just competent? Maybe that's a good idea. Crystal Ashby, who serves as interim president and CEO of the Executive Leadership Council. Why is she interim president? Because they don't trust her to be president. The preeminent organization for Black CEOs, board directors, and executives says that while it's reasonable to question why these mandates are necessary to begin with, it's important to understand that sometimes change needs to be required in order for it to actually happen. Yes, you can require change. The problem is, if you require change, you're weakening the integrity of the system. It's no longer organic. It's no longer merit-based. It's okay for people to have to work harder than other people. Not that people should be discriminated against. It's part of a merit-based system that you show, like, hey, I can do a better job than you can. That's why I'm on the board. And people would say with pride, I had to work 3 times as hard to get where I am because whatever, I had struggles in my life. That's great. We're jealous of that. We think that's great. For someone to say, like, honest, I had to identify as LGB something, and then they told them, then that got me on there. Like, you should be embarrassed of that, not proud of it. Right now, Black directors make up 4% of board level seats at 3,000 largest publicly traded companies, and Black women make up 1.5%. Companies have had more than ample opportunities to diversify their boards. They've had more than ample Ashby says, so I sit here and I look at my membership on my organization at ELC, and I think the number of Blacks who are more than qualified to be sitting on corporate boards. Okay, she thinks there's a number of boards. She's not even the president. She's the interim president. And so I would say, based on what I've witnessed in terms of the fact that is a needle that has been slow to move. NASDAQ's mandates, maybe people are distracted by the pandemic. Maybe that's something that as a company owner, people are like, you know what? I'm a little distracted by this worldwide pandemic. I'm not focused on percentages of the race or sexual preferences of other people. At the moment, I'm focused on working with my existing board to try to figure out what are we going to do to become successful, competitive. Could you imagine if you are a company that owns restaurants right now and most of your operations are closed and you're like, okay, we got to figure out, like Chuck E. Cheese is filing bankruptcy. Is that a tragedy? Not really. Not really. Chuck E. Cheese was cool. An investment fund bought Chuck E. Cheese, and they didn't know what the hell to do with it anyway, and they're going to bankrupt it and then restructure, whatever. But if you have a public company and you own restaurants, plenty of them do, and you're not McDonald's, because McDonald's, like, no problem with McDonald's, apparently. They keep doing great, and no one forces them to close because big companies are allowed to stay open. They're crushing all the small companies. But could you imagine on your board of directors, it's like, we got to figure out what we're going to do with this business, like right now, because we're facing this pandemic. We don't know where it's going to end. Some states, it's much, much worse, the lockdowns, than other states. They seem to be trying to drive people out of business. And you got this to think about? Like, all right, we got to get rid of a couple people on the board and stick in some new people, probably with no experience, and just see what kind of happens. This is what they're forcing right now, which is kind of like they know it's a weapon. All right. Based on what she's witnessed, she thinks that the mandate is very effective. So Carolyn Childers, co-founder and CEO of Chief, a private network for C-suite women. What does C-suite mean? C-suite means C-level executive. C means the first title of your executive starts with the letter C, of your executive position. So C is CEO, CFO, Chief Operating Officer, CFO, Chief Financial Officer. That's what C-level means, C-suite, which is interesting to know. Actually, it took me a while to learn that one myself. Agrees that diversity mandates are often key to help bring about real change. Real change? What are you changing? The profitability of the company? You're supposed to be concerned about changing the profitability of the company and serving your employees and serving all of your local community, not subsets of the community. That's the real change. However, she says company boards and leaders must understand that being a diversity criteria does nothing if you do not have an inclusive workplace culture to match. So you've got to go beyond that. You've got to forget about operating your business at a profit. That is so old school. You need to have social agendas running your business. And if you're not profitable, that's not a problem. Just focus on having an inclusive workplace and an inclusive board of directors. You can see why I was maybe not going to do this story, but it is an important story, and it's something that I'm really freaked out. Again, they do all of this pushing for inclusivity, all of this pushing for you need to have certain kinds of board members that need to look a certain way. They need to like be this or that or this minority of this. And again, they're not, by the way, all of this push for minorities, you don't see minority workplace for like older people that have lost their careers because of like the internet, because of the pandemic. You don't see people saying like, well, listen, on your workplace, we want to make sure you have a certain percentage of veterans because we owe our lives. We owe our country to veterans who fought for this country. I never had an opportunity to serve, but I've had a really, really close friend who was in the Marines, great guy and amazing guy, went to Vietnam. None of these people are saying we need to be inclusive and include veterans. We need to be inclusive and include, there is such a thing as ageism where you don't want to hire people who are over a certain age. You know, as an employer myself, you know, I've, with our telemarketing business, you know, sometimes there are people that want to work that, you know, if they can do the job and they're in their 70s, no problem. You know, it's just some people can't do the job. It's very intense to do a certain jobs like a telemarketing, or if someone was a waiter or a waitress or whatever, like they may not be able to carry trays of plates. That's totally understandable. But they're not out to give people a chance who really need a chance. They're out to push their weird social stuff, which is looking more and more like communism to me everywhere. To achieve this culture of inclusivity, Childers encourages companies to go beyond any mandate that requires them to just fire everybody and just bring in people off the street. To add just one or two diverse hires to their board or leadership team in order to avoid having that person this woman is saying, go beyond one or two diversity hires to your board, to your leadership team. Because what you want to have on your leadership team is you want to have people who are competent, because if not, everyone suffers. It's leadership. They're taking us all somewhere. The leader on the team is taking us somewhere. It's a big responsibility. So, okay, go beyond those diversity hires for your board. Go beyond that, the diversity hires for your executives, but pretend that you need to have inclusive hires everywhere, because you don't want whoever you hired for no good reason other than what they look like or their gender. You don't want them to feel like the only in the room, because it's not comfortable to be the only woman board member or the only woman executive. They might feel a little bit funny. So fire the other competent people, either on the board or fire them at the executive level, and just, you know, bring in other people that sort of look like them too, so they don't feel like they were hired because they're just like the only woman there. And so to have a bunch of women there and stuff, and like this sounds like something that somebody in middle school would write as an essay that a teacher would look at and say, this is dumb. Roughly 40% of senior level women or women in technical roles say they're the only at work. The only what? The only woman? The only whatever? According to Lean In data. Of those who are only, 80% say they've been on the receiving end of microaggressions. If someone complains of microaggressions, you should be fired. Sorry. I want real aggressions, not microaggressions. I want macroaggressions. I want to hear about a macroaggression about somebody being disrespected, and I'll throw them the F out of there. No problem. We did that. We physically threw someone out of our comics company. When I say we, I mean Kirk will tell you the story sometime if he wants to. He was running the place, and somebody was rude with one of the women in our comic book studio. And Kirk called him in and said, listen, you're out of here. And that was someone who was technically a diverse hire. He was a white guy, but he had been in jail before, and he didn't have an opportunity. Like, he's a good artist, and he screwed up, and he seemed like a good guy, and he understood, like, you got to be cool with everyone else here. He was a bit older. I think he was in his 40s at the time, and a lot of our hires were young like us. We were in our early 20s, and yeah, he was inappropriate with one of the women there. Didn't touch them, but something he said, and he had to go. We're not going to have that stuff there. But that was us giving somebody a chance who, on merit, because he was a good artist, deserved a chance. And we thought we could manage him. We figured we couldn't. Then you got to get rid of people when they're troublemakers like that, bothering the other employees. Of those who are an only at a company, 80% say they've been on the receiving end of microaggressions, leading to these women being 1.5 times more likely to leave their jobs. Well, for good, then leave your job. If you can't handle the work and working with other people, please go. Quote, my only concern with a mandate, and I thought that said manatee, but apparently it is mandate. My only concern with a mandate would be that it can create a less inclusive feeling internally versus when you organically get there. How about the concern that it would affect the operation of the business to have a monitor, to have someone who's there who's not competent necessarily, just to fill a social goal? Because the company is not just, it's not a social organization. It's a business organization. It's not a club. There's a friend of mine who was telling me about this very cool thing that the NFL did to hire diverse coaches. And here's what they did, and it was brilliant. They didn't require that you hired diverse or black coaches. What the NFL did was they required that you interview diverse hires. You interview them. They didn't require you hire them, just that you hear them out and see what kind of people they are. So if there was discrimination, you'd still get the interview. And here's what happened. They did the interviews. There was this black coach that did not get hired. He ultimately did get hired by one of the other teams. That coach became an amazing coach, and he was really successful. Ice broken, done, window smashed, glass ceiling smashed. And then people are like, I want to hire people that are good. I don't care about this race stuff. And it started to work. That's what you can do. You want to take this stuff and say, listen, I want you to have more LGBTFGs, and I want to have that. I got to have that in my role. And you want to push them into companies. Do what the NFL did. And they were smart about it because they knew what they were doing. This mandate stuff with the hiring, and you must have a certain percentage on the board of it. All this stuff, they know that they're pushing social agendas. They're not trying to bring people in based on merit. Forcing people to take interviews and requiring interviews, that I like. I think that makes a hell of a lot of sense because you're giving people a chance. And by the way, I don't have time to interview people. It is a burden to force interviews on people. That is a burden. But I'm fine with that. If you're saying like, look, we really feel like people aren't getting a chance, I'm fine with it. Bring in the people for interviews, but you can't require people to hire a certain percentage. That's ridiculous. And it also tells the person who's hired, they don't have to exist based on merit. Okay. So she says she's worried about the inclusive feeling versus organically getting there. While explaining that this can easily happen if a company hits a 1 or 2 person diversity mandate and think that they're done with diversity hiring. I don't care what they say. I'm not going to hire anyone not based on merit because, look, if I hire someone to draw comics for me who's not there based on merit, but they're there based on diversity, and I don't know the sexual orientations, and I don't know what the artists are doing. But let's say I was going to hire someone like that. Well, I'm going to get less of a quality product. So it's a disrespect to backers. Why would you back the Mermaids? And you should back the Mermaids. But why would you back the Mermaids if you didn't know I was going to do everything I could to absolutely make the best possible product? And the same thing goes at the company, at other companies. It's just behind the scenes. She says, but she believes that the pros of diversity mandates outweigh the cons. And she hopes that NASDAQ's push will be the change that's needed for more diverse, qualified candidate. Oh, finally, she says qualified candidates to join boards. See, they should just be insisting. I think, look, if you want to push interviews all day long, but the merit has to be there. Okay, this is creepy. Already, several studies have pointed to the benefits of having diverse firms, including a 2020 McKinsey report. McKinsey helps the Chinese communists, by the way. They got in trouble for that. They consult companies. They're a consulting company. There are a lot of former McKinsey employees running around government that you don't know about. Pete Buttigieg is a former McKinsey executive. But in any event, they also push their culture stuff. Find that companies with executive teams in the top quartile of gender diversity are 25% more likely to have above average profitability than companies in the bottom quartile of gender diversity. You look at the Silicon Valley companies, they don't have diversity on their boards. Maybe they're starting to throw a few on now. All the most successful companies weren't even trying to deal with diversity nonsense. It's absolutely ridiculous to say that if you hire people of a certain gender or people of a certain certain persuasion of this or that you're guaranteed to have better results. And to even say things like that, it's just so it's insulting and it's ridiculous. Additionally, a quick study released. Quick? Where am I getting the word quick? Additionally, a study released by Boston Consulting Group in 2018 found that companies with more diversity at the management level generate a 19% higher innovation revenues than company with less diversity. It's just ridiculous. Does any of that make any kind of sense? If you were to look at the numbers, you know how ridiculous that would look. Ashby, who is the first woman president and CEO, well, isn't she? No, she's not the woman president and CEO. She's the interim president and CEO. We covered that earlier. She hasn't earned that yet. Of the ELC says that NASDAQ's announcement comes at a time where it's critical for us to implement real change when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And again, don't hold anybody responsible for their merit, because we just stick whoever in we want. This is one of those, in my opinion, true moment. This is what happens. You get Alexandria Cortez, I guess, in Congress, and you start getting other people in other positions. She's got a very strong personality. At least she's compelling to listen to. This is one of those, in my opinion, true moments in the time where we have the opportunity and we have to get it right. Nobody should go back to where we were before COVID-19 impacted Black and brown communities worse than anybody else, because they're all run by Democrats. Doesn't say that, but they are. No one should go back to where we were, the number of Black men and Black women who were murdered before. Okay. I mean, this should not be a part of business. Social agenda stuff should never be a part of industry. It shouldn't be a part of business, because when it becomes that, obviously terrible, terrible things happen. Now, this is an interesting article from my buddies at Cosmic Book News. I'm kind of having fun doing these stories today. Good to see you guys in the chat. It's good to see Art Bear. Everyone loves R.T. Bear and his projects. How could you not love R.T. Bear? And the Chronomechanics is still available too. Look those guys up. I don't have the link. Sorry about that. So Spider-Man 3 Spider-Verse is teased by Sony and Zendaya. And I guess there's no way we're not going to have a Spider-Verse. You would think in a perfect world, maybe you just have like one Spider-Man, but you need to have 50 Spider-Mans. I saw the Venom movie. I liked the Venom movie. I don't know. You guys tell me in the chat what you thought of the Venom movie. I thought it was pretty cool. And I guess that's part of the Spider-Verse. So I don't know. It does seem like it gets confusing to have 18 different versions of a single character, though. But let's get into this. This is coming from Cosmic Book News. Spider-Man 3 Spider-Verse teased by Sony Zendaya. And you know I love Cosmic Book News for all their cool comics-related stories and pop culture stories. Again, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Fans have spotted a Spider-Man 3 teaser posted by Sony Channel LA, which happens to tease the Spider-Verse with Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, and Andrew Garfield. They've been talking about that for a long time. That's a lot of Spider-Mans. But that's not all, as Zendaya recently, what a cool name, Zendaya. Maybe I'll pick that name. No longer am I Adam Post. I am now Zendaya. No, I'm going back to Adam Post. I like that better. That's not all, as Zendaya recently appeared on Jimmy Kimmel and was asked about Spider-Man 3. 3 Spider-Men and Tobey Maguire. All right, let's see. It's thought Spider-Man 3 will be a Spider-Verse multiverse movie, as Jamie Foxx is said to be back as Electro. Even Jamie Foxx says that. He definitely is. Benedict Cumberbatch is appearing as Doctor Strange, with his sequel titled In the Multiverse of Madness, and rumors offer both Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield will be back as Spider-Man. It's going to be a lot of Spider-Mans. Sony Channel LA teases Spider-Man 3 Spider-Verse and Multiverse. The Sony Channel LA account posted a video promo. You can watch it below. I'll include the link. Asking fans who is their favorite Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, or Tom Holland? That's a fair question. Quote, though, "You don't have to choose," says the video. Translated, in the multiverse of Marvel, anything can happen. And they do mean anything. And you can read whatever you want into that anything. The teaser continues. In Spider-Man 3, you will quite possibly see everyone. Yes, the 3 Peter Parkers saving the world together. You have to have Peter Porker. Otherwise, it's not really a multiverse. The video ends with, "Find out more very soon." So back in November, Sony Channel LA also teased the Spider-Verse with a promo released with news of Benedict Cumberbatch joining the cast. Quote, "Theories about the Spider-Verse of the Marvel Universe are strengthened." Teased the video as Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange will serve as a mentor to Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I like mentors in movies and stories. That sounds very cool. Zendaya, I would have thought she'd have a fancier place than that. Zendaya asked about Spider-Man 3 on Jimmy Kimmel. They're sneaking leaks out. Regarding Zendaya, Jimmy Kimmel remarked that she is now filming Spider-Man 3 in Atlanta. Oddly enough, the purple hues of the video and Zendaya match. Correct, replied Zendaya. Kimmel remarks that she's allowed to say that, and everybody's very secretive about everything surrounding the movie. Yes, everything's very secretive, she said. Kimmel then tried to trick Zendaya into spilling the beans. That would have been tricky. And asked, quote, "Is it called Spider-Man 3 because there are 3 Spider-Men in the movie?" I can neither confirm or deny. Oh, she was ready for that one. Kimmel again tried to trick Zendaya by asking if she had Thanksgiving dinner. "Yes, we did. We had a bubble Thanksgiving," said Zendaya. Kimmel shot back with Spider-Man. Zendaya almost slipped. I cannot say that, she said, as Kimmel laughed and joked about Spider-Man. And that could have tricked me. If he would have said with Spider-Man and I had it with Spider-Man, I would have spilled the beans right there. Oh my God. He joked about Maguire eating a vegan turkey. That was good. That was good. She scolded Zendaya with a big smile. Scolded Zendaya. Okay. So the Untitled Spider-Man 3 has a December 17th, 2021 release date. It's directed by John Watts, with rumors also offering a multiverse. Sinister Six might be part of the film. Yeah, they've been wanting to do Sinister Six as well. I don't know what you guys think. I mean, I don't know. The multiverse stuff is just so confusing. You have so many versions of the same character. You know, what the heck are you going to do? Like, which do you guys? What do you guys think in the chat? Are you with the whole multiverse Spider-Man thing? I don't know. Venom was cool. I'm glad you agree, Luis. It had a chance of not being cool. It did really, really well. You know, they made a ton of money on it. Now, they also introduced a She-Venom, sort of, and I think they're talking about having a She-Venom and Venom 2. You know, I like Venom. I thought Venom was cool. I saw a report the other day that should be front page news and scare the hell out of Americans, Europeans, and Australians. That is interesting. Man of Action, if you want to tell us more, we'd love to hear about it. While we're at it, I don't know if you guys saw the new trailer for my Mermaids project. I would love for you to check it out. The Mermaids is my new project, but the trailer, we just did a new soundtrack too. So let's take a look at this for a sec. Isn't Ted Zagaro amazing? Ted Zagaro made that video for me and organized all the sound stuff and the soundtrack and stuff like that. Now, what is The Mermaids? The Mermaids is my new full color series, man. The book's completely done. And I got inspired from, I was working on a mermaid project actually with Jim Shooter. I don't talk about this that much, but I was in the early 2000s. And there is some script based on that. There's a treatment based on that I'm probably going to share with people, but not yet. I'll bring it up later in the Mermaids. But anyway, we never did the full series, the full project I wanted to do with Jim Shooter, but I kind of was always into the idea after that. And then when I saw Game of Thrones, I was like, well, what if the Game of Thrones was based around fantasy creatures, mermaids? Like that would be even cooler. And they started working on this. The Mermaids is one mermaid's journey from simple teacher to unbeatable warrior. She thought she had nothing left to live for until she discovered her new purpose, revenge. And that's the main character, Jonna, in the series. And she becomes a badass is the basic thing in this whole world of Game of Thrones. This is one of the covers by Jerry Gertrudia. It's a beautiful full color book. Jerry designed over 30 mermaids with me over the course of a couple of years. And this is another one of the mermaids with Sai. And this mermaid's name is Fanine, and this one's name is Enki. They all have these extensive backgrounds, which is just funny because there's just so much development to the mermaids. This is one of the covers I had done by Javier Aranda, who did College of the Dead. I really love his work. I asked him to do 2 covers for this, and he agreed to. And these are another 2 of the mermaids. It's Jonna on the left, my left, and Idris, who's holding the dagger in that one. And the interiors are done by David Lorenzo. He's a really, really strong sequential art storyteller, and his characters are very expressive and unique looking, and he did a very good job of matching the script. And the script was done by 2 writers. She loves to go by MJ, and also Stephen Petrucco, my writer for College of the Dead. And the book's completely done. It's 48 pages, full color. And we did the 6-panel format. It's going to be like a little bit wider and shorter than a typical comic that I would do to accommodate making the panels just big on the page. The suggestion Ethan was making, and I'm like, all right, I trust Ethan. He knows his stuff. He did Van Skyver. And then we also have this 100-page Making of the Mermaids book. I love doing these making of books because you get the full script, and then you get the rough layouts that the artist did, Dave Lorenzo in this case, to just show the whole production process. And we do full script. So it's really like a movie script. You see like every character saying this, every character's, got that dialogue. The layouts are very faithful to the script unless the artist had a better idea for how to do it. And then we just approve that. And then the making of also includes another one of these like full size, full page illustrations by Jerry, just designing the world of the mermaids. So it's really pretty incredible. These are incredible people that I got to work with. I love collaborating at that high level, really, like where I'm helping everybody. I love an organic system where everybody can kind of contribute their part. And then just as long as the original idea is very, very cool and they did a good job on it, I'm a happy guy. The Making of the Mermaids also includes another 30 paragraphs of character descriptions of all the development. This may eventually be trading cards, but for the meantime, it just explains the whole world and all the characters interacting and all that. So you can back the Mermaids. It's a huge help to me. I appreciate you guys backing. It's fantastic that we've already got 101 backers on this. I really appreciate the support on this project. This I started really years ago before anywhere near COMICSGATE. And I'm really, really excited to be finally publishing it. And we've already more than matched our goal. And this book will be shipping in April of 2021. So each of the covers you can get individually. You can get them as sets. They're also set up well as add-ons. The full set of the Mermaids books are the 4 covers plus the making of book. And then if you want to, you can buy College of the Dead as well on this, and combinations of College of the Dead and the Mermaids. But yeah, thanks for checking it out. I appreciate the support. And thanks also, if you're not ready to back, go ahead and share it on social media is a huge help. I appreciate you doing that. Have you guys seen this story? Ethan did a video on this already. He's a ninja. He's very fast. I didn't get a chance to do that yet. Andino, where's Uffmind? Oh, okay. Just to respond first, guys are asking a couple of questions. Sorry, I didn't see that. Bing, bang, boom. Stop with the tears underwater. Same thing as bleeding. Liquid is liquid. You're okay with the live action Spider-Gwen if she's hot. How about Spider-Femme? That's my version of Spider-Man. That's another whole story. Dale says the song reminds him of Timbaland, Too Late to Apologize. Timbaland did a song with Katy Perry. I thought that was really great. I can't remember the title of it. And it was a small song, didn't really get out very much, but it was very cool. When We Meet Again or something like that. Hex Allen says, did that one mermaid have antlers? She doesn't have antlers. That was just her hair. But no, we didn't get that. We didn't get into the antlers. The heads are all normal except for the ones who can turn into a shark if she wants to. That's Queen Leith. She's really evil, very naughty, and needs to be attacked. Alex loves a good revenge story. I like getting revenge myself. So revenge is good. Yeah, she's out to kill the queen. Jana is. So she's gonna do it or not. She's not doing it in the first book, I can tell you that much. Where's Enlil? I don't know what that means, Earthmind, but Enki is the one with the sigh. She's very kick-ass. Hot lesbian mermaid action. Exactly. When mermaids fall in love, how can you go wrong? How's that for a subtitle? Mermaids fall in love, how can you go wrong? That's pretty good. Plastic Woman movie at development at DC. Some people who know me and some people remember comics from the 90s remember that I published spoof comics in the 1990s. And spoof comics, I'm going to look up, there's a Comics Vine, really good Comics Vine page on it. So, no, that's not what I was looking for, damn it. Spoof Comics was a line of parody comics. So first came Parody Press from Don Chin. Don was doing parodies of superheroes. And he did something called X-Farce. He sold a ton of them. They sold like 80,000 copies, which is a lot of copies for a black and white comic. I think it was 80,000. Don's going to have to tell me. But, he had done well with that. I was publishing Personality Comics, which is biography comics, and probably some other comics. Who can even remember, right? It's 25 years ago. And Parody Press was doing pretty well. And then I went with my editor-in-chief and the guy who really ran a lot of operations of the business, Kirk Lindo. And we went to New York Comic Con, and we met a bunch of artists, and we met Adam Hughes. So in Adam Hughes's portfolio, he had done a female Captain America that I thought was freaking amazing. And after we met Adam Hughes and we got back to the office like on Monday, I told Kirk, like, I love this Captain America parody that Adam Hughes did. I want to do, and it was never published. It was just something in his sketchbook. I want to do a line of parody characters based on Marvel and DC's biggest characters. I'll come up with funny names for them, and let's do this. And it was ridiculous to think at the time that you would do female superheroes like that. Like there were Spider-Woman was floating around. Like there were female super characters, but really not much. And certainly not turning all the male characters into females the way that you see it in Marvel now. Daredevil was just announced that Daredevil is going to be Elektra. It's like Elektra is going to be Daredevil. So you're going to have a female Daredevil. You never did that before. I did this back in 1992. So we hired Adam Hughes and paid him a very high rate. He was very happy. He thought we were joking, but I paid him a lot because it was his idea originally. And we did all these parody comics. Spider Film, Bat Babe, Wolver Broad, Super Babe, Dare Dame, X Babes, Justice Broads. And it went on and on and on. Fantastic Femmes. It went on and on and on. But it was supposed to be a joke. And now I'm seeing like they're really doing this with Thor. They're doing this with every major character. They're creating female versions of characters. So this is coming from Cosmic Book News. Plastic Woman movie in development at DC. Look how shocked he is. Hashtag RIP Plastic Man. As it's announced that a Plastic Woman movie is in development over at DC, Warnermedia, and At&T. Really, I guess it's Warnermedia probably. THR reports the news, but oddly enough, it doesn't specifically state it's a Plastic Woman movie. They say the Plastic Man movie that has been in development for the past couple of years is going in a new direction entirely and will now become a female leading vehicle as a comedic action adventure based on the hero created in the 1940s. So again, while they don't say it and question if the title will be changed, of course, it won't be a Plastic Man, but it will be a Plastic Woman. Kat Vasco is writing the new take on Plastic Man, who seems to be a newbie, but THR says Vasco made a name for herself writing strong female characters. Okay, strong female stories. Interesting. Plastic Man is Patrick Eel O'Brien. In the comics, what do you guys think of this Plastic Man? I don't know. In the comics, Plastic Man is Patrick Eel O'Brien, and the character happens to be a fan favorite who has been part of the Justice League and who even had his own cartoon series. DC Comics describes the character as: you've just committed the crime of the century. You stand to gain millions, but someone's on your tail. A shape-shifting superhero who's infiltrated your quarters and masquerading as something in your very room. But what? The brown chair sitting by the window? The desk propping up your computer? Or could it possibly be the gaudy red and yellow chandelier no one on their right mind would ever buy? Pop culture's silliest superhero, Plastic Man, is as much a humor icon as a heroic one. During a heist gone wrong, petty crook Patrick Eel O'Brien, why do they call him Eel? Now you know, was doused in chemicals. They're all doused in chemicals, allowing him to stretch his body into any shape he desires. Don't try this at home, by the way. I don't know why they don't say that. Don't douse yourself in chemicals, hoping to be able to stretch your body or to get superpowers. Nursed back to health by altruistic monks. That's really the story. He was inspired to embrace life's brighter side. All right, that I kind of like, but that seems a little implausible. Taking their ideals maybe one step too far, Eel abandoned crime, becoming the pun-dropping, wisecracking Plastic Man, able to morph into anything: a table, a countertop, even a woman's dress. He can bounce, stretch, and repel any foe. No weapon as sharp as his wit. He'll introduce jocular justice, the humanity's darker side, as the premier amalgam of humor, action, and heroism. Well, a female Plastic Man. I mean, if it was really well done, it could be very funny. John says, DC does like to douse people with stuff. John says, DC likes to douse people with chemicals. Barry Allen got his flash power along with lightning. Yeah, the Ninja Turtles got made that way. Daredevil got blinded but got superpowers. Hey, Corey, good to see you. I haven't seen you before on the channel. Make sure to subscribe, Corey, and click the bell for notifications so I can tell Corey what is going on, and he can tell me what's going on with Kozar and with coloring. Corey is currently coloring. Yeah, it's going to be Plastic Woman, Corey. Corey just got here, give a guy a break. It's good. They're creating female characters out of everyone. Guys, what do you think? Should I bring back spoof comics? We've been tinkering around a little bit with spoof comics. We have. I've had a colorist remastering some of the spoof comics covers, and they look, to be honest, kind of amazing. Okay, let me see what I can show you. All right, I can show you this. All right, there's a female Daredevil going around, right? Marvel has a female Daredevil. What do you think of my remastered female Daredevil, Daredame? This is the one that me and Adam Hughes created. Adam Hughes. Full color. That's the cover mock-up. Pretty amazing. There's really only one Adam Hughes. He actually did 7 covers for us. This is one of the 7. I absolutely love what he did. And they're all parody characters, but they're cool as hell. Look at that tail. Yeah, that's Adam Hughes for you, man. Hey, just the kid from Brooklyn. How you doing, man? That's one of the covers. I had all 7 covers redone. We had the pencils and the inks. In some cases, we had pencils on some of these covers going back more than 25 years. This is the Bat Babe cover. That Adam did. And Adam did the color design, but his original colors were like, 1992 technology. So we did it all digital again. It was Farah who worked from Adam's color design. And then also under the direction of Kirk Lindo, who was my editor-in-chief at the time and is also a great artist. And he's a great inker as well. And he oversaw all the production notes. He just did me a great favor. Well, we're good friends, so I guess friends can help each other out a bit every now and then. All right, I just want to show you guys one more of these that Adam did for us. We remastered. This is X-Babes. It's the blue background cover. We actually did a female Wolverine that I called Wolverbroad. I created. And it was before X-23. So that was our cover. So I remastered all 7 of these. I'm not sure how I'm going to release these, but I'm kind of excited about the idea of re-releasing these because this was really some of my favorite work that I ever did, and it was funny and it was amazing that we were doing spoofs before, and taking male characters and making them female characters before anyone else did. This is the Spider-Femme cover that Adam did. Where is it? Oh, yeah, that kind of fits it. I love it. I absolutely love the work. So we'll republish this. We'll do this pretty soon. My focus is really mermaids right now. But I'm not showing you guys. I'm saying it, but I'm not pasting it in the right. All right, so that's Daredame. I did that wrong. I have to redo this. Well, I kind of didn't want to show you the X-Babes anyway. Which one is this? Let me see. Okay. I'm going to show you the Spider-Femme one. I screwed up and didn't show you a different one. What, Joe King likes it? Better spoofs than the lame people. Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing. We made real characters out of these. Well, some of the stories are very silly, but in terms of the designs, it's good. My Daredame is this. This is, see those boobs? We fixed that. Woman without a Daredame, woman without a brassiere. How good is that? How good is that? And then she runs around. She doesn't have a bra on. Now, is that logical? Shadowhawk's down. Cool. Is that logical? Yes. Woman without a brassiere rather than woman without fear. Sort of ridiculous, granted. But that was the idea. But how could they be doing this with all of our characters now? Now will this open properly? I don't know. No, it's not going to open properly. All right, I'm going to show you the Bat Babe one. But how the hell do I even do that? I have to share it differently. Then why is this working? Oh, I know why it's working. Okay. All right, did I show you? No, I'm going to show you Spider-Femme. This was the first piece that Adam did for us. He had a great time doing it. Did a beautiful job. Adam did the original colors, and they were done in like a mixed media and like airbrush. You can still find this comic on eBay. We actually did a newsstand version of this. This was on newsstands as well. But this digital color version is the new version, and the full bleed version, and the virgin cover version. So yeah, it's pretty fantastic. But that's our female super. Yeah, isn't it amazing? Andino's giving me shit. Adam Post is sitting on a gem and doesn't run with it. Jeez. Oh, thanks, Andino. Well, I will run with it. I've been the last year, we've been recoloring some of the work. The covers we had to remaster. Some covers needed to be inked again. 2 of the covers were inked, the X-Babes and the Justice Broads ones. Thanks, Corey. But we had to remaster the color. And this is like of these covers. And this is something that you do not screw around with. It can't be wrong, right? So we had to really be incredibly careful with everything we were doing. So this is Bat Babe. And again, original colors by Adam, and then Farah went in and followed it under Kirk's direction. Bat Babe is awesome. Very, very cool. I mean, they are kind of unique characters, even though they were designed for parody. So I did have this idea with the Daredame. I have another character in mind that would have nothing to do with Daredevil that would be based on that design. But I don't know. I don't know if we would do that or not. Probably we would not. Maybe use a similar design, but I wouldn't take the cover. Well, it gets complicated. Let's just put it that way. So without rambling on about that, but that's Bat Babe. All right, let me find one more to show you guys. So I really, really love this stuff. What about this one? What is this one? Oh, here's another variant. I don't know if I'm going to publish this or not, but I had to do it. We had Farah create a variant of Daredame that was red and yellow. That was Kirk's idea. So sort of like Daredevil's other costume. You guys like the purple one. Do you guys like the purple one better than the red and yellow one? I don't know. Adam Hughes art book. Shadowhawk asked, was I working with Kirk on the Luxury issues? I was not. That was something Kirk was doing completely on his own. Yeah, Shadow, that's Adam Hughes. Yeah, Kirk was doing Luxura on his own. And then when he published Luxura, it was through his own company. So he helped us a lot. Kirk was amazing. And then he also learned a little bit publishing when he was with us. And then he was in a position to do his own thing. So it didn't really make sense for Kirk to do his Luxura project with us because it was his own idea, his own company. Which is the great thing about having a company is you learn a lot, and other people learn. And then we're also, he was very successful, and then we can still help each other today, because he does his own thing, I do my own thing. That was the original, and that other red and yellow one. This is the original. That other red and yellow one is the variant of it. I don't know how many variants we'll do. I mean, it's the thing with Adam's stuff. Like I have pencils of these covers that also look amazing. We could be doing that endless, variants and versions. But honestly, one of the problems I'm having is I actually have 7 amazing covers that Adam did for me, and I don't want to do endless spoof comics. So I think I'm going to have to choose between the 7, or I'm going to have to do 7 variants when we launch the book. And I think that 7 might be 7 covers. I mean, worked for Kyle Ritter, but it might be a bit much. I don't know. We're gonna get there. It's a little bit early in the process. This is this one was really cool too. This was our take on Superman, Super Babe. What a talent! Adam Hughes is amazing. I'm really glad to have done it. But yeah, I'm really, really passionate about spoof comics. It was a lot of fun. And we'll do it as a 48-page full color collection and then a few different variant covers. I just don't know how I'm going to possibly choose between which cover is which. Oh, you like the red one, the red and yellow one. The dark one's too close to Catwoman. Miss Fury, we did it before them. Hey, Leg Kick, what's happening, man? Andino says I'm sitting on a gold mine. So Andino, you say that I should. Andino, should I do all 7? Oh, there's Rankabot. Chris Rankowitz from back in the day. Back in the day, my brother. Yeah, Rankowitz was there. He was in the studio. He knows secrets. I think. I don't even really know that many secrets. This is one that we used. We used as a cover for Amazing Heroes swimsuit issue. I'm showing too many of these, but I'm having too much fun. This one was penciled by Adam Hughes, and then Adam had Kirk ink it, Kirk Lindo, who worked with me, because Adam didn't have time to finish the inks. So Kirk inked it, but actually Kirk went and All right, that was kind of silly. I clicked close and I closed the wrong thing. Yeah, don't do that. Don't click the wrong thing. And then that won't happen. I was trying to get to one of the covers. Oh, well, where is that one? All right. See if I can do it this time. This time with feeling. Now you see why I don't stream all the time. All right, share screen. Let me get back up the cover I was supposed to show you guys. Spoof Comics cover. Yep, this is the one. Yeah, this was a cover that Adam did with our characters Wolver Broad, Bat Babe, and Spider Femme. And it was awesome. The original coloring was really flat. We did it. Adam only did the pencils, Kirk did the inks, but we recolored it. And I love how it came out. Farrah's great. Farrah had already done the other colors, so she was kind of able to match the same sort of style. Don't ask me why it's so difficult to get the thing to fit on one page. There you go. 70% is the magic number. So this is Spoof Comics. I don't have a sign-up list for this. Why am I doing that? That's better. I don't have a sign-up list for this project yet, but I'll put one out pretty soon. It's too small. Well, now it's bigger. Right, Corey? That's what you were talking about. Adam kicked. Yeah, kick Adam. I kicked myself. Yes, I did. I did kick myself. It's a true story. Wasn't necessary. So which one is the best cover? The police were nearby. They'll never catch me alive. They'll never catch me alive. I'll be live streaming. All right, guys, you are amazing. Thanks so much for spending time with me today. I'm going to ask you to go ahead and make sure to check out the Mermaids again. The Mermaids is my project. It makes good things happen. It makes me even more excited about Spoof Comics. But I will be doing Spoof Comics soon. We're almost done with it. We're coloring the last couple of pages of the interior, and I want it to be perfect. And we're actually re-lettering Daredame, the interior. It's okay, but it's hand lettering, and it's not as good as computer lettering. So that really needs to be re-lettered. So we're finishing that. My friend is helping me with that, who's a comics production guy. He's really good. And then I'll do the Spoof Comics collection after that. I'm going to have to do a live stream, though, and ask you guys and really get more feedback of what covers of Adams do I use or not use. And I have the pencils look amazing. If you would see like what some of the production work looks like on the Adam Hughes stuff, it's It's amazing. There's one cover you guys haven't seen, the Justice Broads, but it's that we have the pencils look amazing, the inks look amazing, and the colors look amazing. And I'd love to offer, the individual, like the pencils as its own cover, the inks just its own cover, just because the art is so freaking amazing. So we'll see. We'll just kind of, I'll do more live streams. We'll talk about it. I'll come to a good consensus. And I want to do what's good for COMICSGATE as well. I don't think that everybody should be doing, 7 cover versions of anything, no matter how good the covers are. But at the same time, to not publish them is kind of a crime because this stuff is so freaking amazing. So as long as it's right for the project, I guess. Just talks a little bit of back and forth. We'll figure it out. All right, guys, you are amazing. Thanks again for taking a look at the mermaids. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I appreciate you very much. Share the campaign if you can as well. It's a huge help. Be sure to subscribe. Click the bell for notifications, because where else are you going to get the love that you're going to get here? And this way you'll be notified when things are popping off and things are happening. All right, I will see you guys again soon. I appreciate you all. Shadowhawk, great to see you. Corey, great to see you. We will talk again soon. Rankabot wants to publish Spoon. Damn it, Rankabot. Spoon is our Spawn parody. Rankabot did the interior for that, although no one's supposed to know that. I think he did that on the QT. We actually sell that for, a line art variant. We're going to have spoof comic streams. Headlights, Headlights is another whole story. We got to do the Headlights action figure first, Chris. Chris, we're going to have some serious toy conversations. Will you agree with Mighty Joe? What did Mighty Joe say? Do them all, full reprint bundle campaign. Well, when you say reprint bundle, what are you saying? I'm thinking I have 7 Adam Hughes covers without variants or without line arts, all just finished color pieces. They're fucking amazing, all of them. Excuse the language, but they are. So I may have to do 7 different covers, I may just have to, because what people want is they're going to want all of Adam's covers. That's the best of the best work. So they're going to want them. So I kind of have to offer them, because otherwise, then you buy them. And then what I do is I come back and do a second chance campaign in a few months. And then you have to pay shipping again. And then I don't want to do that. So I'll do streams and we'll talk about it. I want some other CG guys to give me some feedback too. Now, all the issues, all the covers, and bundle it. I can do all the issues as a digital collection, but to put it all in print would be pretty massive. I do have scans of everything. There's about 40 of them. Well, anywhere from, I don't know, there's a mix between 20 and 30. Why everyone wants Spoon? Why do you want Spoon? Spoon was one of the Image Comics Month parodies that we did. And I do have a Batbabe Spoon crossover cover that Kirk did that's actually pretty great. That would look good. Reprint with Alterna. Well, now that you put it that way, that's not impossible. That's a lot of comics. That's there would be 20 of them. Omnibus. You painted the cover. Yeah, you have the original cover. Chris did. Maybe we'll have to show it on a stream. Chris will have to just try to see if you can locate it without it's not too much trouble, and we could show it on a stream. I got to stream with you too. We got to stream with Don Chen. We got to get Kirk back in there, other CG guys, and have a lot of fun. I think for spoof it might be digital, except for the main book, my favorite stuff. And then some of the lettering is rough, some of the art is rough. Give people what they want. All right, we'll give people what they want. Joe, you're right about that. We will give people what they want, no matter what. If they want an omnibus, they can have an omnibus. You got to give people what they want. That's the whole point. And it's good for the campaign. It's good for business. Shadowhack is happy. I mean, you might be too happy. I don't know if you should be that happy. No digital ever? Just a good way to collect it, though. It's just, you can make it cheaper, too. Very cheap. Like with Alterna, it's very reasonably priced. But even with Alterna, I got to talk to Peter about this, I guess. But you got to spend, it's about 50 cents a comic to print them. which is cheap. You can't complain. But then you're doing at least 500, so it's $250 per book plus some other expenses. So really, when you're done, probably 300 and a quarter landed, maybe 300. And then if you're doing, especially if you're doing 20 of them, I mean, it's not a ton of money, but I don't know. We'll have to work on it. Jared Hankins, yes, do digital. And don't fight in the chat about digital or not digital. I mean, the thing is being able to give people like 20 comics cheaply is pretty damn amazing. That part's handy. So that's a real possibility. I don't have any digital comics. If anything, I've done CG. Jones's print or nothing. Well, some people want this, some people want that. You have to kind of figure out there's alternate giants. I think you can do up to 80 pages with an alternate giant. So that could be viable, like a black and white collection of some of the books. Some of the books are very cool. We worked with Kelly Jones for Swamp Thing, where Kelly Jones did the cover, and then Alfredo Alcala did the interior. And both of those guys are classic Swamp Thing artists. So at that point, like, how can you complain? We got like Swamp Thing artists doing our Swamp Thing parody, Swamp Thing. You can't really go too wrong. 100 plus. I don't even know what that means. Oh, with the Giants, you could do 100 plus. 88 pages. All right, there you go. So I can ask Peter. We're chill like that. He'll hook me up with some info and get some details. 100 plus pages. So you could do like 4 or 5 issues in a single book. Not impossible. Not impossible. Our spoon parody is ridiculous. Absolute max is like 108. Okay, that helps. Ever consider making omnibus of the 90s stuff you own the rights to like Ethan did? Yeah, I have. I mean, with Spoof, I wanted to remaster everything because some of the stories, none of the stories were color. Well, we published a couple of color Spoof comics for Newsstand. We didn't have any of but that was all like low tech and it was like watercolor, which is fine, but digital is much cooler. And then, but a lot of it wasn't color. And what I'm thinking of doing is just doing a 48-page full color, like ultimate Spoof comics collection. And then having Adam Hughes variant covers. As you can see, the Adam Hughes variant covers are drop dead striking. So that's something people definitely would want. The only problem is not really even a problem. It's just that there's 7 Adam Hughes pieces. So 7 is a lot. 7 is a lot of covers to do. So I don't know if we want to do 7 variants. I would do 4 or 5 pretty easily. It's just the last 2 or so that makes a difference. And Triumphant Comics, I'm kind of coming up with ideas of what to do with Chromium Man and some of that other stuff. There is some really good stuff in there. The thing is for COMICSGATE, it's such an opportunity to do something new and do something amazing. And I'm thinking about like iconic superhero characters, and I've been keeping ideas for some of them for a while. They're pretty freaking cool. I have some very cool stuff. So I'm kind of working on those ideas too for, the next, it's time for me to do a 6-figure book. So like a mainstream. Yeah. Somebody said Adam Hughes art and you've seen it. Art, what do you think? I have 7 Adam Hughes covers. And I'm going to do a 48-page color collection of like my ultimate Spoof comics characters, but I have 7 Adam Hughes covers, but 7 is a lot of variants. So how do you choose between the 7? They're all good. Art had some feedback on that. And Art has seen some of the other stuff you guys haven't seen yet. That's my thing, is I have to decide like how many covers I would want to do. So I don't know, guys. It's tough to decide sometimes. But you just want to make great stuff. That's all that people like and can have fun with. That's the main thing. Yeah, Art's been around for a while. So Art has some very good insights and very good ideas. All right, guys, I'm going to run. It's an incredible pleasure to spend time with you. I really appreciate you guys. Definitely check out the other CG books. Check out Art's book as well. I believe he's still in demand with Chrono Mechanics. And I will see you guys soon with another video, and we will have more fun. I will definitely be live streaming more. You guys made it a lot of fun today. I appreciate you guys doing that. And I will see you again soon with more videos. And if I don't see you, I will miss you. Please do subscribe and click the bell for notifications. Thanks, you guys. Talk to you later.